Hey, it's Chris. Welcome back to Lucky Mike Eye. Tonight's episode is one of those recipes that, honestly, just feels like a hug in a bowl. French onion soup. If it's cold where you are, or even if it's not, and you just need something warm and a little indulgent, this is the one. There's something about French onion soup that gets me every time. It's not a complicated dish, not really. It's onions, butter, broth, a little wine, some cheese, some bread. That's it. But the way those simple things transform when you actually take your time with them, that's the whole magic trick of French cooking, I think. Nothing's hiding behind fancy technique. It's patience turned into flavor. I always think of it as a dish for slowing down. You can't rush caramelized onions. I've tried, believe me, cranking the heat up thinking I could speed through it, and all I got was burnt, bitter onions, and a pot to scrub. This soup rewards you for standing at the stove a little longer than you'd like to, stirring, half thinking about your day, half watching those onions slowly turn from sharp and white to soft, golden, and eventually this deep, jammy brown. By the time that broth goes in, your kitchen already smells like a French bistro on a rainy evening. There's something almost meditative about it, honestly. I look forward to that part now instead of dreading it. And then there's the top, that broiled cap of toasted baguette and melted Gruyere. I'm not going to pretend that part isn't the reason half of us make this soup in the first place. Watching that cheese bubble and turn golden under the broiler, catching a few dark spots at the edges, that's the payoff for all that patient stirring earlier. So let's make it together. This recipe serves four. For the soup base, you'll need about 3 1/3 pounds of yellow onions, thinly sliced. Yes, it sounds like a lot, but they cook down dramatically, so don't be intimidated by that mountain of onions on your cutting board. 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, a teaspoon of sugar, which helps the onions caramelize a little faster and deeper, 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, about 6 cups of beef broth, homemade if you've got it, but a good quality store-bought works just fine, half a cup of dry white wine, 2 bay leaves, 4 fresh thyme sprigs or a teaspoon of dried thyme if that's what's on hand, salt and freshly ground black pepper to taste. For the topping, you'll want 8 slices of French baguette, toasted, and about 2 cups of grated Gruyere cheese. Let's start with the onions, because this is where all the flavor really lives. In a large, heavy-bottomed pot, melt your butter together with the olive oil over medium heat. Add all those sliced onions and stir until they're coated well in the butter. Then drop the heat down to medium-low. This is important. Don't skip this part. Sprinkle the sugar over the onions and let them cook, stirring frequently, for about 40 to 45 minutes, until they're deeply caramelized with almost a jam-like texture. I won't sugarcoat it. This is the longest part of the recipe, and it takes real patience. But it's non-negotiable if you want that deep, rich flavor this soup is known for. Once the onions are there, sprinkle the flour over them and cook, stirring, for 2 to 3 minutes. This cooks off that raw flour taste and helps thicken the broth a little later. Then slowly pour in the white wine to deglaze the pot, scraping up all those brown bits stuck to the bottom. That's flavor you don't want to leave behind. Add the beef broth, the bay leaves, and the thyme, and season with salt and pepper. Bring it up to a simmer, then reduce the heat to low, cover it, and let it simmer gently for about 30 minutes so everything melds together. While that's simmering away, go ahead and preheat your broiler. Lay your baguette slices on a baking sheet and toast them under the broiler until they're crisp and golden. Keep an eye on them. Broilers work fast and unforgiving. Set them aside once they're done, and grate your Gruyere if it isn't already. Once the soup has simmered, pull out the bay leaves and thyme sprigs, and give it a taste. Adjust the seasoning if it needs a little more salt or pepper. Now for my favorite part. Ladle the soup into oven-safe bowls. Set a toasted baguette slice right on top of each bowl, then generously pile on that grated Gruyere. Don't be shy with it. Slide the bowls under the broiler and watch closely until the cheese is bubbly and turning golden brown, which usually takes about 3 to 5 minutes. This step moves fast, so don't wander off. Carefully pull the bowls out. They'll be extremely hot, so give them a minute before serving. Then dig in while it's steaming. A few things I've picked up making this over the years. Don't rush the caramelizing. That low, slow cook is really where the whole dish comes together, and there's no real shortcut for it. Keep a close eye once it's under the broiler, because cheese can go from perfectly golden to burnt in a matter of seconds. And if you want to round out the meal, A simple green salad with a light vinaigrette is really all this soup needs alongside it. It's already rich and satisfying enough to stand on its own. As for what to drink with it, a glass of dry white wine, a Chardonnay or a Sauvignon Blanc, pairs beautifully with the richness of the broth and cheese. If you're more of a red wine person, a light-bodied Pinot Noir is a lovely alternative that won't fight with the dish. Nutritionally, this is a rich, hearty bowl. Each serving comes in at roughly 711 calories, with a solid 37 grams of protein from the broth, cheese, and bread. It leans indulgent, with a good amount of fat and sodium between the butter, cheese, and broth, so it's very much a treat-yourself kind of dish rather than an everyday one. But that's part of the charm, honestly. Some meals are meant to be a little indulgent. There's a reason this soup has stuck around for generations in French kitchens, and honestly, in mine too. Its humble ingredients, given real time and real attention, turning into something that feels like far more than the sum of its parts. Let it simmer, let that kitchen fill up with that smell, and let it transport you somewhere a little cozier for an evening, even if you're nowhere near Paris. Thanks for spending this time in the kitchen with me. Bon appetit! And I'll see you next time on Lucky Maikai.